So, uh, the lecture notes which I have sent, that I am going to share and we'll discuss according to my lecture notes. So, share share content. Start this one. Two. Share. Uh, so I think all of you can view. I will view my screen. Those who have joined, are you able to view my screen? Hello, hello. Okay, let us continue with the discussion. Uh, you might be having a bit of streaming problem, but if you miss any important discussion, uh, then you will in the video recorded version of this video. So I have already discussed the one-dimensional array in the class. So let us repeat it once again. But I haven't discussed dimensional array in the class. So as we know that one-dimensional array is nothing but of some same type of data elements. We call it homogeneous elements in a contiguous memory location. So that is, I think all of you know, and we have already discussed the advantage of this array, this subscripted variable, so that it will be benefited for us not to take so many variables by the different names. We will be using a single variable, a single name variable, but with a dimension, and that dimension will denote the number of elements we can store in the array. So instead of taking that many number of variables, we can use only one variable, but uh, specifying the different index number, we can access the different elements from an array. If we have discussed, let's say this is the AR5, it is an array uh, integer variable. Here we have specified the dimension 5. It means that we can store maximum number of elements 5, and as I told you that array index starts from 0. So first element of the array will be accessed by AR 0, then second one AR1, gradually AR2, AR3, AR4, in this way. And we define the size. Basically, this is an example of static memory allocation. That's why we cannot change the dimension or number of elements stored in the array. We cannot change it dynamically. So we have to fix it beforehand. At the time of execution of the program, we cannot change, but we can define the size, the constant, just before the main has defined through this preprocessor has defined size 10. Means here, instead of writing int AR 5 or 10, if we write that int AR size, a size, then this size will be replaced by this number 10. It means that this array will be of 10 number of elements. So as we know that how to initialize an array, the next thing, that is int array. At the time of declaration, you can also initialize the array, or you can take it through a loop using scanf statement. This is just the how to define or how to specify a subscript number. These are the shown here, and total size in byte for 1D array. Total size, if it is an integer, as you know that integer data type takes 2 bytes of space. the size of the data type and size of the memory. If it is dimension is 10, then total bytes will be 20. Here it is 20, then total bytes will be 22 multiplied by 20, 40 bytes. I think you know all these things. And we have already discussed in terms of memory allocation that array we know the base. If we know the base address of the array, then we can have a picture of the different rooms of the array with the address. Because if it's integer, then since a particular integer element takes 2 bytes, then the next room will be having the address 2, then the third one 2004. In this way it will be cut. And here is a pictorial representation of this. Hmm. A0, it is an array. We have shown that A0, 12, A1, 45. I think you all know it. And number, here's number 0, number 1, number 2, number 3. This way we can think of an array. The pictorial representation of array, single dimensional array. uh, this is how to initialize an array with a loop that also is indicated here. Ni is if the array name is n, then ni means I will be specifying the index number. And this is an example of this and how to get the output. I think all of you have done this earlier. Now program using array, that also you have done, that the summation or average of some marks already you have done it. I am just repeating all and what we have already discussed. But now the new thing is the two-dimensional array. What I don't think I have discussed or not. I think I didn't discuss it in the class. Two-dimensional array is nothing but a collection of rows and matrix, rows and columns of a matrix. If you think of matrix of 2D, then definitely there will be some number of rows and columns like this. Here, the pictorial representation of 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 columns and 3 rows. So two-dimensional means number according to the number of rows and columns, the array elements will be stored in the contiguous memory location. And what the way we accessed the elements in single dimensional array, if the name is A, then AI. Here the number of rows, along with the number of rows, you have to specify the number of columns, means its index number. Now see, this is the way to initialize a two-dimensional array. Here, how to write two-dimensional array? I've defined. If it will be of integer type, then int array name is A, then A34. Means here this array will be having 3 number of rows, number of columns like matrix. Okay, and at the time of declaration, we are defining the elements. Here number of rows are 3 and number of columns are 4. So this value will be denoted by the array 0 0, because the first index starts from 0. The first row and first column 0 0. First row, second column 0 1. Row, third column 0 2. First row, column A 3. This way we can access, and it is the way to declare and define an array. First we have to write the all the elements for the first row within the second bracket, then a comma, then we will start the second row, elements of the second row, then comma, then we will complete the third row with the 4 elements, because each and every row belongs to the four number of elements. Okay, so this is the way we initialize an array. And here how to this is how to the output or how to print the array elements, since we know that to print the values of a single dimensional array, we here, since there are two index numbers, one is for rows and another is for columns, we have to take two loops. So two loops with a different counter. The counter I will keep track of now, and counter and the means the column index will be kept track with the different variable, that is j. Here printf a person d printed j aij. This specified for the index number, means index number of the row, and this is specified for the index number of the column, and this is the element. And see, this is the way we will get the output here. Write a C program to find sum of two matrices. Here is a practical example. So this is example to add two matrices, and we have to store the summation of the result into a resultant matrix, that is third matrix. So we have to take three matrices. So three two-dimensional array. So A, B, and C. We will be adding the elements of array A and array B with matrix A and matrix B, and we will be storing the result matrix C. How to get it? First, we have to take the elements in interactive way through keyboard. We need two loops. One will be for the rows, and the nested for loop will be we will keep track of the number of columns. So when I is 0, j is 0, we are taking the first element int %f. It is a float type, that's why %f, then ampersand aij. So first element will be a00. Then, as I told you, for the nested loop, first the innermost loop will be completed, then the outermost control will enter in the outer loop. So first we have to complete this one. So for I0, this loop will be continued 2 times 0 1. So A00, then again j plus plus. Now j will be incremented to 1. J was 0, it will be incremented to 1. So now it becomes 0 1. Okay, then again j will be incremented by 1. Now j becomes 2, and 2 less than 2, it falls. So here the loop will be stopped, loop will be broken. Then we have taken the two elements of the 0th row, means first row. Here first row means 0th row and first column means 0th column according to the convention of array. So now the first row, taking the first row is completed. Again we will be going for the second row. I was 0, now I plus plus. After the completion of this innermost loop, the outer loop will be started, will be continued rather. So I plus plus, I becomes now 1. It was 0 initially, now it becomes I plus plus, I becomes 1. So 1 less than 2, it's true. Now again this innermost loop will be started from the beginning. So j will be initialized by 0. So I is 1, now j is 0. So it will be 1 0. Then j plus plus, j becomes 1. So I1 j1. So 1 1 element will be taken. Means the element of the second row and second column. And then j plus plus, j becomes 2. So it will become false, and this loop will be stopped. Then again the control will come here. Now I becomes 2, 2 less than 2, it is also over. The control will come here now. Now this way we will be taking the second matrix, that is the B matrix. The same way, after taking the elements into these two matrices, we will be adding. But as you know that we have to maintain the rule of the addition of two matrices. Rule means number of rows and number of columns of two matrices must be same, otherwise the addition will not be possible. That's why we took the same dimension for the first matrix and second matrix, and definitely the dimension of the third matrix will be same. That is number of rows and number of columns is 2. Now, how to add up these two matrices? See, again we have to take two loops. One is for I and this for J. Now, simple thing. We are just adding up A and B, and we are assigning these added number into the C, to that particular index. So Cij, let's start with the 0 and 0, I0, then control will come here, J0 because it is true. So J00, so C00, Cij means C00, it will add up A00 and B00. So the element of the first row, first column of the A and element of the first row, first column of the B will be added, and that will be stored in the first element of the first row and first column of the C, this way. And again J is 1, so 0 1. So this way each and every element according to its index number or room, it will be added up to the third element, that is C. So this is very easy, nothing to understand over here. And as you displayed the a single matrix used to take a single loop, here also like we take two loops to take input, here also at the time of printing the two-dimensional matrix, two-dimensional array, or here the matrix, we have to take the two loops. One will keep track of rows and another will be in inner loop will keep track of the number of columns. Cij, y is 0, j is 0 0 0, I is 0, j is 1 0 1. Then I is 1, j is 0 1 0, I is 1, j is 1 1 1. This way we will print the resultant matrix, means this two-dimensional array. And here it should look, the output should look like a matrix. That's why after printing each and every row, we are just putting a slash n. It will generate a new line, so that between each and every row there must be a new line. That's why after completion of each and every row while printing, we are putting a new line here using printf/n. So, and it's the same way the program for multiplication of 2, the how to you know that what is the rule of this multiplication of two matrices. Now let us just pause my discussion and let me know how you are understanding my lecture, this online lecture, virtual lecture. If you have any question, then you can ask me one by one. And here there is an option, those who want to put a question can raise his or her right thumb, okay, means a right hand. You can see it in your right side drop down. There is a symbol of this right palm. You will get a symbol of right hand, so you can raise your hand. I will get to know that people has a question. And let me ask you, how many of you are online right now? Please respond.
Sir, Shanton online.
Santon, are you
Yes, sir.
getting the streaming properly using this software?
Yes, sir.
Uh,
Yes, sir. Totally.
it is much more secured, right? No point of
Yes,
having
sir.
over here, because Cisco is the mother of this web conference, right? Cisco is much more authentic, so you
Yes, sir.
don't have to get afraid of this hacking or this what you can
স্যার
uh, ask me.
স্যার বলছি আহানা না জয়েন করতে পারছে না, ও বলছে হোস্টকে অ্যাডমিট করতে কিছু একটা, ওর ওই অ্যাডমিটের কোনো প্রবলেম হচ্ছে।
অ্যাডমিটের প্রবলেম বলতে?
মানে ও আমাকে যেটা লিখলো সেটা হচ্ছে কি, ও বলছে আপনাকে অ্যাডমিট করলেই ও এই মিটিং এ জয়েন করতে পারবে।
অ্যাডমিন না, ওকে বল জয়েন নয়, ওকে বল যে লিঙ্কটা আমি পাঠিয়েছি না গুগল ক্লাসরুমে দেয়, ওই লিঙ্কটা কপি করে ইউআরএল এ পেস্ট করতে, মোবাইলে হোক যায়, ওখানে জয়েন করার দরকার নেই, তাহলে প্রবলেম হতে পারে। যে লিঙ্কটা পাঠিয়েছি আমি, জাস্ট লিঙ্কটা কপি করে নতুন ইউআরএল তে বা নতুন ট্যাব খুলে সেখানে পেস্ট করতে, বা মোবাইলে যেমন তোরা ক্রোম ইউজ করিস সেখানে জাস্ট পেস্ট করে দিতে, করে এন্টার মারতে বল। So
ঠিক
the person will get no, এখানে কোনো, it is very hassle free, right? Nothing to do,
Yes, sir.
just you just copy the link and paste it to the URL, nothing else, automatically. And then next whatever will be asked is very
আচ্ছা
easy. hmm.
আচ্ছা
হ্যাঁ
স্যার,
স্যার,
আমি বলে
ইজিলি
দিচ্ছি।
কানেক্ট হয়ে যাচ্ছে।
বাকিরা, let me ask others, are you getting any problem?
নো স্যার, নো স্যার।
স্যার একটা এই যে এটা রয়েছে ইনক্লুড হ্যাশ, মানে ওই হ্যাশট্যাগ ইনক্লুড conio ডট এইচটা, ওটার স্যার মানে ওই প্রি প্রসেসর ডাইরেক্টিভটার ফাংশনটা কি?
conio.h হচ্ছে হেডার ফাইল, এটা কোনো প্রিপজিশন নয়, এটা হেডার ফাইল লাইক কনসোল ইনপুট আউটপুট। ওকে, now that
হ্যাঁ
preposition means has defined here like this way. I'm sharing again this way, this just a minute, I'm showing you. No,
হ্যালো স্যার।
lecture notes one matrix transforms. I have to share, just hold on.
ইয়েস স্যার।
Share content. Share content.
হ্যালো।
Just a minute. See here, one thing is, let
একটু
me show.
বুঝিয়ে দেবেন?
বোঝাচ্ছি। তুই কি এখন জয়েন করলি?
না না, একটু আমার নেটের প্রবলেম হচ্ছিল।
আচ্ছা। So later recording, you will get the recorded version of it. I have already the recording is going on. Okay, so you will get the entire recording if you miss any discussion. যেটা বলছিল, what is the preposition that has defined size 10? This is a preposition, example of preposition. It's nothing else, that is this. If I, wherever this size, this name will be there in the code, this number will be replaced by this name, nothing else. Means instead of writing it, let's say in ARR AR5, if you write this in ARR, it is int, not in, typing mistake is there, it should be int AR5. Instead of writing AR5, if you write in AR size, and if you write this has defined size 5, then same thing will be done, nothing else. And now we can ask, what is the necessity of this? I can directly put the number here. So why I am taking this? Why I am writing this before main? And see, all these prepositions will be declared before main. Okay. And what is the necessity of writing this? Let's say you have to specify a particular variable. Let's say pi. As you know that value of the pi is 3.144, right? 3.14. Okay. So let's say you are having a formula associated with this pi value 50 times in your entire code. 50 बार ये फॉर्मूला में पाई मेंशन्ड है किसी भी प्रोग्राम में, ठीक है? Now if you want to change the value of the pi more precisely, from 3.14 to 3.14141, like this 6 digits or 7 digits. So you have to change this value of the pi 50 times individually in your code. 50 बार जहां पे वो कोड वो जो पाई का वैल्यू मेंशन लिखा है वो पर जाके मैन्युअली 50 बार चेंज करना होगा. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, but here
Yes,
if you
yes, sir.
just change it here single time, that change will be reflected in all the places where it is being said. If I write has defined pi 3.14 and if I use this pi 50 times and if I need to change the value of the pi afterwards, then just changing here, this changing will be reflected over all the places. Got it?
Yes, sir.
This is the main necessity of this preprocessor.
Yes, sir.
I will discuss preprocessor is a different chapter. I will discuss preprocessor in more detailed way later on. Okay. Now, whatever I have
Okay.
discussed, all of you have understood how to handle a two-dimensional array? Yes or no?
Yes,
Sir,
sir.
sir.
Any questions so far?
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Who is this?
Sir, প্রোগ্রামটা একটু রিড করবেন বুঝলি এটা
বল কি বলছিস কোনটা?
প্রোগ্রামটা
ফার্স্ট প্রোগ্রামটা আচ্ছা ফার্স্ট প্রোগ্রাম মানে ফার্স্ট প্রোগ্রামটা কি টু ডাইমেনশনাল এটা বলছিস এটা কোনটা বলছিস বল মিসি দ্য ফার্স্ট প্রোগ্রাম বলতে এইটা বলছিস হ্যালো হ্যালো দেখ এটা
হ্যালো হ্যালো
হ্যাঁ বল হ্যালো
ডিসপ্লেটা একটু তুলুন উপরে
ডিসপ্লেটা
উপরে
টু ডাইমেনশনাল অ্যারে সিঙ্গেল ডাইমেনশনাল অ্যারে
একটু তুলুন
টু ডাইমেনশনাল অ্যারে তো 2D অ্যারে 2D অ্যারে 2D অ্যারে তো
UDR এর যে প্রোগ্রামটা আছে
হ্যাঁ বুঝতে পারছি দাঁড়া এই টু ডাইমেনশনাল অ্যারে হ্যাঁ দাঁড়া এইটা বলছিস আচ্ছা আমি একবার রিপিট করছি
হ্যাঁ 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 হ্যাঁ
just 2D means the way we declared the single dimensional array what we did here what we did earlier in a5 then we just put the 5 elements within a bracket. This is the declaration and definition at the same time. You can take it later on using scanf. That is another way. There are two ways to define a variable. You can define at the time of declaration using this assignment operator, or you can declare it later, right, after definition. So this is the declaration and definition at the same time. So that's why first 5 rows and number of rows are 5 and number of columns is 2 here. A52 means, right, two dimensional array means number of rows and number of columns will be there some. Okay, now this each and every row will be having 2 elements. This is 2 5 2. This keeps tracks of the number of rows and this is for number of columns. So each and every row will be having 2 elements. This is first row, this is second row, this is third row, this is fourth row and this is fifth row, nothing else. And we are segregating these rows with these brackets, nothing else. This is the convention, nothing else. When you want to declare the declare the array at the same time if you want to define the array, nothing else. And here output, you know, output and the next the way how to take the array interactively means through keyboard. This is another way. As you apply it for the single loop in case of taking the elements from keyboard in case of single dimensional array. Since it is a two dimensional array, you have to take 2 loops, right? The number of the outermost loop will keep track of number of rows and innermost loop will keep track of number of columns, nothing else. Clear? বোঝা যাচ্ছে?
হ্যাঁ স্যার।
আচ্ছা, addition of 2 matrix complete হলো, বোঝা গেল? Now how to multiply the two matrices. As you know, the rule of the multiplication of two matrices. What is the rule? As you know, that number of columns of the first matrix
equal to
must be
number of
same
rows.
as the number of rows of the second matrix, so that parity must be there. Here, to avoid all these confusions, the example is shown here. All the matrices are of same dimension. So mat 1, mat 2, mat 3, we have to multiply mat 1 with the mat 2, and we have to store the result in mat 3. So first we have to take the rows and columns, and here int row, and these are the variables to store the values temporarily. And we have taken this number of columns this way: row 1, row 2, column 1, column 2. Okay, and row 3, row 1, and see, this is the condition: column 1 not equal to, if the column 1 not equal to the row 2. Okay, column 1 means what? The number of columns of the first matrix, and row 2 means number of rows of the second matrix must be same, otherwise number of first matrix and second matrix, so it is not possible, multiplication is not possible, so it will exit from the program. Okay, so otherwise it will enter to the program. Now enter the element of the first matrix. We have taken the way we took it earlier, the same thing. First we are taking the first matrix, second we are taking the second matrix using two loops. Mat1 matrix, taking the elements into mat1 and mat2, done. Then Ankita approve. Okay, it's question to annotate the share content. I'm approving. I don't know. Wait a minute. So Ankita, I got a message from start annotating. What is this? Oh, I got a marker. One second. Anyways, I don't use the marker, otherwise it will be lazy, or you can get a problem. Anyways, are you getting? Are you able to see the cursor of the mouse? All of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
Let
sir.
us use it simply. Now, for this is the core part of the program for the multiplying. First, here, what you know, as you know that, I think if you recall how you multiply the two matrices, you will get to know what we did it. We just consider the first elements of all the elements of the first matrix, the first row, and we have to multiply with the all the elements of the first column of the second matrix, right? And after multiplying each and every element, we are supposed to add it up. Yes or no? I think if you
Yes.
forgot, if you forget, then you just go through the way of multiplication of matrices, right? So here we have done the same thing, and here, since we are to apply, we have to use the same this variable mat3. We are every time for the second row, for the next row, we are reinitializing it by 0. So this is for the row of the first row for the third matrix, means the resultant matrix, and this for the column. Now we have taken and another loop which will be helping for this multiplication of the different elements from the different matrices. So mat ij means the first matrix, we are actually storing the first element in the third matrix, resultant matrix. What we are doing? Mat ik k2, and see the k, the boundary of the k will be what? Means if you recall the the dimension of the resultant matrix, what is the dimension of the resultant matrix? Mat 1, row 1, column 1. Mat 2, row 2, column 2. So what will be the dimension of the resultant matrix? It must be row 1, column 2, right? The condition is number of columns of the first matrix must be same as the number of rows of the second matrix. And if the condition is valid, then we will get the rank, we will get the resultant matrix as the dimension number of rows of the first matrix and multiplied by number of rows of the first matrix and number of columns of the second matrix. This is the dimension of the resultant matrix. So definitely this will be same as either number of rows, means this column 3, either it will be the number of columns of the first matrix, or sorry, number of columns of the first matrix or number of rows of the second matrix, right? So this way we have taken a third loop as k, mat ik and mat 2kj, means if it is 0 0 then 0 0. In the second, for the second one, when I is 0 and j is 1, then again we are getting I think if you just go through the multiplication process, it will be easier for you to understand what is the necessity of taking the third loop. Are you getting this one?
Yes.
Hello? Or I am supposed to teach you how to multiply two matrices, the mathematics. What do you suggest? Hello?
Sir, I think means a short dry run will do of this part.
Okay, you can just first go through this one, okay, and then we will discuss it again. But to understand this, you just go through the process of multiplication once again, okay, then we will discuss it. Huh? Okay, now then another program is the transpose of a matrix. So that is it, how to just alter the number of rows and columns. That is we have done here. This transpose of matrix with number of rows will be in the number of columns for the resultant matrix. Okay, it's very easy, nothing else. Just go through the multiplication. Okay, then we will discuss it. So any questions so far? Is the first class through this software. Any questions?
No, sir.
Okay, so I am just putting the link of this recording. I will post the link of this recording to the Google Classroom and ask the other classmates to follow this. And I am thinking a video lecture, to post a video lecture using some professional way, using some software that will be also helpful for you, right? So let us configure this one, then you will get to know. Okay, so let us end the session for
Okay.
today. So I follow the case. Okay. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.